Okay, good afternoon. It is April 20th, Sunday, April 20th. This is Debbie Davis. So, I, okay, like the last video, yeah, I mean, we have very serious problems in our country. Very serious problems. Um, so it starts at the top, okay, of the states, of the state, I mean, it says in Isaiah, woe to the, okay, Isaiah 5:20 to 21, woe to when right be wrong and wrong be right. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil. These are the days that we're living in. We're like, when if you have Satanists at the top, okay, so it's just that, okay, I've always been a Trump fan, but then everything got infiltrated again for the last 4 years with Biden. We have Satanists at the higher levels of our government, right? And so anytime you have somebody that's not of God or whatever, it's just like this scripture here. It says, like, in the last days or whatever, woe to when right will be wrong, wrong will be right. Call evil good, good evil. Okay, they put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and shrewd in their own sight. Okay, then it goes on to Isaiah 24, and it says, so therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their rot shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Okay, so this is what God needs to deal with these people. God needs to deal with these people. I have done as much as I can to expose the darkness. That's what I'm doing in my video. I've done as much as I can. I don't see any other option as far as getting these bad people out of office. I don't see any other option except for arresting them. They're not going to go down lightly. They're not going to, they're not going to give in. Yeah, they have to be arrested. And I don't see Pam Bondi and Kash Patel doing that. I mean, I just don't see it happening. I think it's going to have to be a military operation. There's an alliance of different countries involved that Trump had started. Trump had started an alliance when he first did a tour years ago. I think it was 2018. He did a tour with many and went to many different countries, and he was addressing the human trafficking situation. And at that time, there was some kind of an alliance formed in like 2018 against the human trafficking with several different countries. And there's still that alliance that was formed. Okay, and the people that are against the satanic agenda of the human trafficking and different things like that. So there still is an alliance there, and I think it's going to be up to, and as like all the countries that are aligning against the Satanist agenda, the New World Order agenda, I think it's going to be them that have to come together to do the arrests. There's nothing happening here as far as there's no arrests happening, and there's been an indictment list for each state for 8 years. We kept thinking, okay, when are these arrests going to happen, Trump? The first 4 years there was like I got an email personally, and it was like hundreds and hundreds of indictments for each state, and it was you could see it was in like the government pacer system. You could look it up. They didn't say names, but you could actually see the amount, and those were the people that the Trump administration had figured out were deep state. Okay, so we kept wondering, okay, when are these people going to be arrested? And it never happened the first 4 years, so I keep waiting for it to happen this time, and it's not happening. And so I think it's going to have to be a military operation to arrest these people. They are not going to go down on their own. I think it has to be the alliance of countries that Trump had formed way back in like 2018 to get together and arrest the people that are involved in the satanic agenda, the New World Order agenda. So that's what I think has to happen at this point. I don't see anything happening here with the attorney generals on that level. I mean, this has gone on way too long because if they still have this, so basically if we let these type of people stay in office, then they corrupt like everything down, right? I mean, they corrupt, so we have bad people in Minnesota. We have bad people, usually they got, they infiltrated their people like everywhere in all the different government offices, so if you don't have somebody good at the top, then it infiltrates all the offices, and that's what's happened here. That's what's happened all over. So, I really just don't see any other option except for, a massive operation to arrest them. Otherwise, it'll just continue to be the same thing over and over again, and it'll just be, anytime Satan is in charge, it'll just be the opposite. It'll be like you won't get justice in court. You'll continue being harassed, and just for trying to do the right thing, like what I have been. So I have been nonstop harassed under this program for 13 years. As a whistleblower, I was supposed to be protected under the Military Whistleblower Protection Act, but we had Satanists at the highest levels of the government that didn't protect me. Okay, so it's just like this. It's what is right is wrong when you have Satanists at the top. What is wrong is right. Okay, so I did the right thing. So if this is what we stand for as a country, and you don't protect your whistleblowers, and you don't protect the innocent, then we're not going to be saved as a country until we do something, until we take action. It's up to us. God is waiting for us to take action. But there's but there is things happening over the Passover here. So I guess the Passover just ended here on Easter. So happy Easter to everybody. And we had a whole slew of storms during that whole Passover, and I said that was going to happen because that's what happened last year. We had a whole slew of storms, and this is God cleaning house. Okay, it's cleaning. I'm in Minnesota. I didn't. There were storms all over the world. There were storms that hit Oklahoma, Texas. Tornadoes in Kentucky. There was a 7.7 earthquake in Myanmar, near Thailand. I mentioned that movie Beyond Rangoon. If you get a chance, you should see that movie. It's based on a true story that happened in 1988, where this woman got stuck in Myanmar. It was called it's called Myanmar now, but basically it's like right near Thailand and China, and she lost her passport and she got stuck, and there was some kind of a military operation that was beginning to happen in that country, and she got stuck there because she lost her passport, and ended up in the middle of it, and almost didn't survive it. And so that's what that movie's about with Patricia Arquette. It's a super good movie. But that happened in that Myanmar area. So I think that the deep state started the infiltration back in 1988. If you look at that movie, that seems like when it started. It seems like that's when it started there. So we've had 2 weeks of severe weather across 10 different states, like Arkansas, Tennessee, like massive flooding and tornadoes. And last year it was same kind of thing, flooding. I mentioned, the different flooding all over the world, even Brazil, even Dubai last year. Okay, this is I'm seeing this trend over the Passover time. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is what happened way back when in the times of the Exodus, God brought all kinds of plagues to Egypt until he let the Israelites go. until they let the Israelites go. They didn't want to let them go. They were mistreating them like slaves, and that's how I feel. I feel like as Christians and righteous people, like we're being treated as slaves. We're being treated like we're the wrong ones instead of the right ones. So because it's like, so it's that's how I feel like is happening right now, is that we're and so it's like the same type of thing happening, where the good people are being mistreated by the wicked people. And the same thing was happening way back in the times of the Exodus, where the Egyptians were mistreating the Israelites. And so God brought about 8 different plagues until they finally released the Israelites. And so there's a story from the Bible there. And you can look up this story too, where Ron Wyatt actually found the remains of this of the crossing of the Egyptians. And there's the actual remains of this incident. And they found horses' hooves on the bottom of the Red Sea. And they found chariot wheels from this incident. Okay, chariot wheels under the sea. So Ron Wyatt was a biblical historian. Yeah. Okay, right here. Yep. So this is the chariot wheels from the Red Sea crossing that were found, and this is Ron Wyatt's work that he did. This was the very area that this happened, where that the Exodus happened, where the Israelites crossed and were released from the Egyptians. Okay, so this is Ron Wyatt's work, and this was in the Red Sea that it happened, and Ron Wyatt was a biblical archaeologist, and these were the exact chariot wheels. Yeah, Ron Wyatt, Red Sea crossing. Okay, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they were 6-spoke chariot wheels, which is what the Egyptians had at the time. Or yeah, the 6-spoke chariot wheels. So what happened is that they were crossing the Red Sea, and the Israelites got through, and then God brought this. He brought this huge wave, and the Israelite and the Egyptians got drowned. The Egyptians drowned, and there's their chariot wheels and everything drowned. So that's the story of the Exodus, and you can still see the remains of horses' hooves at the bottom of the Red Sea where this happened. And okay, so if you haven't heard of Ron Wyatt, he was a biblical archaeologist that went all over the world. So you can look up Ron Wyatt's discoveries. Okay, and he found the remains of Sodom and Gomorrah, this Red Sea crossing, and Noah's Ark. Okay, so I've just been absolutely astounded at his research. And then his sons were there's a museum in Tennessee called the Wyatt Museum. Okay, I haven't but they've tried to hush this guy for years. I know that his sons were running the museum, and this should be worldwide public information, and they're trying to suppress it. This guy was amazing. This guy was an amazing biblical archaeologist. It started with him being in the military, and he flew over some different things when he was in the military, and saw some different things that he thought, what is that? Like over in Eastern Turkey. And then it took years to get the permit to excavate that area, which is now called Noah's Ark National Park in Eastern Turkey. Okay, and it started with him. Yeah, it started with him being in the military, and then he was. I really don't know how he got his funding. He was some kind of an archaeologist, and But yeah, his research is amazing. But these are real stories, from the Bible. This isn't just a book. This is our history. So and they're not teaching enough of it to anybody anymore. I mean, in the schools certainly is what I mean. Like this is our real history. So okay, but yeah, I do feel like that we have to. It's up to us to actually take action. Faith without works is dead. So you have to have faith and pray, of course, but you also have to take action. Otherwise, what are you waiting for? Like, for, we have to stand up, and I just don't. I think that the only thing that's gonna work is if we come together, like as a global alliance or something against. It's the New World Order agenda, and it's the deep state, and we know they have this agenda, and it's like Benjamin Fulford talks about. I mean, they're not going to go down lightly. Like, who are we kidding? Like we know enough now with the Doge team. We know enough who the people are involved in fraud, or who the companies are. So I don't know why we can't just arrest these people. So I think that it's just priority to arrest the people that are involved in all the fraud, and that it's the fraud is directly associated with the deep state. The fraud is what's funding the deep state right under our noses. So they've been stealing all of our money and trying to the whole plan is to make us slaves. It's like a New World Order agenda to own the world and have the rest of us slaves. So they've been secretly stealing all of our money, and with this agenda, and then we would just be slaves, and they would have secretly stolen through fraud our money. So we have to wake up and do something about it. Okay.